And that's really what we need to do now, is to, instead of focusing on everything that's out of our control, to focus on, okay, what can you control? And here's some really practical things you can control each and every day when it comes to your fear. First, when you're afraid, you can control how you respond. How are you responding? Man, what are your emotions? How are you treating other people? What are you turning to for comfort in the time of fear? A lot of people turn to unhealthy things. Man, what healthy habits, what healthy hobbies are you putting in your life to use this time to be life-giving, right? So how can we be focused on what we can be doing in this time? What are healthy habits? What are things you can control? Man, you can control praying, going to God, spending time with God. These are all things within our control. And I want to encourage you guys that in this time to not get overwhelmed and terrified of what's out of your control, but focus on what you can. I've noticed how it affects my mood. Like when I'm stressed, when I'm freaked out, I start, maybe like I'm a terrible person to be around. My drives my wife crazy, and I just, it's like all this tension just because I'm freaked out and not handling it well. And so I think the next part, the thing I want you guys to write down and to take away is to not let fear keep you from loving other people. It would have been very, very easy for me up at that camp to just bail, right? Just like, all right, I'm looking out for myself. These kids will figure it out. I'll just kind of find shelter for myself and bail. But that would be terrible. That would be awful if I did that. My job as a camp counselor was to ensure the safety of these kids. So it would be insane to leave them. Man, in that same way, we're called to, as Christians, not to just like, okay, well, I'm good, I'm solid. Yep, I'm in the boat, I'm firm in my faith. Sweet, I'm going to trust in God, I'm just going to hunker down and be solid. But no, our job it doesn't stop there. Yes, stand firm in your faith. But the next step is to, get other people in the boat with you. Because here's the deal, and here's the truth. Right now, there's so many people around you, they don't have church community, they don't have a relationship with God, and they're drowning. They're drowning all alone. Drowning in their fear, drowning in their anxiety, drowning in their depression. And they're just reaching out, looking for someone to grab their hand. And that's what we're called to do right now in these times, in this moment as Christians, to stay in the boat and get other people in the boat with us. And I'll be honest, this isn't the first thing I've wanted to do, right? I'll be honest, like when this all first started happening, I kind of noticed how selfish I was, where I was instantly like, how am I? How are we doing? How's my family? Like I wanted to make sure like we're okay first. Dealing with my own stress, my own mental health. And the last thing I felt like doing was like, okay, how can I go and be a light? It's difficult. I'm dealing with my own stuff, right? I can't be worrying about everybody else. They got to figure their own thing out. But no, man, that's not what we're called to do. One really, really crazy prayer request from Paul that I want to share with y'all is found in Ephesians 6. It's this crazy prayer request. So Paul, he's writing this letter to the church in Ephesus in prison. Homie's in prison and he's writing this letter. And just imagine the things you would pray for, right? Here's what Paul prays for in this letter. Here's his prayer request. In chapter 6, starting verse 19, it says, "Pray also for me, that whenever I speak, words may be given to me, so that I will fearlessly make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains. Pray that I may declare it fearlessly as I should." So Paul, in prison, his prayer isn't for freedom. His prayer isn't for anything else. He just says, no, despite my situation, pray that I can continue to speak boldly and fearlessly about how good God is. And this is insane, so wild, because it meant despite our situation, despite what we're going through, and how powerful is that to still say, no, even though I'm going through really hard times, God is still good and God's still loving, and people need to know that. How powerful is that? Man, could you imagine other prisoners being like, dude, what, you're saying God's good? You're in prison, dude. And he's like, yeah, exactly. God is still good, absolutely. And people need to see how powerful is that. And that's what we're called to, that despite our situation, that we're continuing to love others, despite what we're going through, despite if we're afraid, to push through that fear and still reach out to other people.